Hi, it's Miriam Yerushalmi. Wow. Were you ever so mystified by your child almost the moment they were born? How about now? Now that they're really entering another stage, whether it's toddler to teenager. Especially as they are getting older and having more access to people other than their own family members, there are things that we have to really take into consideration. Human nature, according to Rambam, Hilchos Midos, is that it's the nature of man to conduct themselves according to peer pressure. A person will look at his friend and really be affected by the people around them. Even King Shlomo says, he walks with the wise, and he will then become wise. He who shepherds with the fools becomes foolish. Fortunate is the man that had a chance to hang out with the good people. What was a person to do? They should go to places and conduct themselves appropriately according to where they find themselves. They have to make sure not to be in bad places. Well, if you think about today, in modern times, it's unbelievable. All and every type of population is almost at their fingertip. And it's so hard to regulate who they are really in contact with and who they shouldn't be in contact with. They may have a very challenging teacher. They may have a very challenging situation with their own sibling. And how about sometimes one parent that is a more difficult parent to deal with? So this is a very serious matter and has to be very much dealt with precision, care, and carefulness. Because if we don't pay attention to these factors, then it's so easy for our children to be swayed in a direction that we tried so hard to protect them. You see, when there are some challenges at home, then the child is more prone to look out there for the support, and sometimes from the children that are not on par with what you would want them to get the support from. Especially teenagers, more than anyone, one might say, need an accepting environment. And if they don't have it at home, they can be more susceptible because they can get places on their own. They definitely need mutual trust in the home, a place where there is no one that's condemning them. Because if that is the case, they can be further pushed away, especially in the most trying years as they're trying to find themselves and feel comfortable in the community and at the public at large. Normally, if an adult finds themselves in a very bad place, they have an option. They pick up and they move. They leave. And a child cannot so easily do that. He is in the school environment. He's stuck there. It's who his mazal is to be with which teacher and which student. So that's why in our home, we have to be the dugma chaya. We have to make sure that they feel comfortable turning to us when they have a challenge. So they won't be as thirsty and needy to hang out and connect with the wrong crowd. So many stories that I have heard, even in this past year, of one child connecting to the wrong child because the parents were just too busy to listen. And the one that was willing to listen was giving this child all kinds of interesting ideas, feeding into the insecurity and negative, doom-like energy. You know the sentence, misery likes company? It really is true. You know, the Rambam says, try to be cleaving to a wise person, a Talmid Chacham, because it's going to affect you. It's going to make a desire within you to be more like them. So how many opportunities do children have to be with a Talmid Chacham? Where can we, in our own lives, be the wise one for our children? We got to be vigilant to find the right families, to investigate, to call, to really go to that family's house. Snoop a little bit, but for L'Shem Shamayim, for the child's sake. Maybe something now is so innocent, they're young, but if they get too close and that family has standards that are very off the market of what you would want for your child, design ways so that that child maybe would more come to your home, depending on even if that is possible. We really need to help our children reach their full potential. We need to strengthen their mental well-being by being there for our children. Many children really struggle to regulate their behavior, and often that really complicates a lot of their relationships. They have low tolerance. They don't know how to deal with frustration. They don't know how to be flexible. And so maybe the type of child that has had that gift by birth and that genetic predisposition to be a more relaxed child won't necessarily befriend or make your child feel good about themselves. And so then the child might be, again, more susceptible to being a friend with someone who could really be a wrong influence. And what could happen next? Because of their challenges, they might find unhealthy outlets that their peers are suggesting for them to get involved with, leading them to a path of avoidance, encouraging them not to be responsible and, God forbid, lead them to be more rebellious. We got to forewarn our children and encourage them to recognize avoidant patterns. Because really, those avoidant patterns are paradoxically what will exacerbate the situation rather than reduce their suffering. Some examples, of course, not doing their homework, delaying projects, procrastinating, teaching the children how to face the challenge that will help them understand that in the long road, by dealing with it now, this will bring you a joy of accomplishment. And that avoiding responsibilities will lead to emotional pain, more anxiety, bad feelings, and then one thing can lead to the next, and they might feel despaired, and then even more serious types of emotions like depression. We can help our children remain focused, help them really face their own worst doubts and fears. Of course, with a lot of empathy, with a lot of love. They need us. Definitely, we can look for righteous individuals in the community, ask them to be mentors, maybe give a donation to their organization. That always helps. Invite them more for Shabbos. Be active. Be a full participant in increasing their social spheres. Helping them lead a more happy life because they see all around them vibrant, humble, cheerful presence of the type of people you want them to emulate. Well, you can also do all the above, but sometimes the influence from the outside strengthens all the values that you're setting in your own home. Many times an advice given by a very honorable neighbor can somehow have the aha moment effect on the child, even though you've been trying to say the same exact thing for how many years? We gotta help bring out the best in our children. We have to help them have that ability to succeed. Because today there are so many children lost in school, 40, 50 children in one classroom. And the stress is on, especially if they're not really able to excel. They're not so gifted, even in the sports arena. They're not chosen to be part of a team right away. They may be somewhat socially awkward for whatever reason, born with being an introvert. Or maybe being too bossy and too much of an extrovert. All these variables need to be addressed, and the child really needs the guidance from outside influences as well. I remember a story where this rabbi was in my house, and he told me this happened to him at the Shabbos table. It was Yom Kippur, and he's a rabbi in his shul, and he was in the middle of his sermon, and his youngest child approached him, crying and crying, needing some kind of attention. And he didn't know what to do. It's Yom Kippur. There's only a certain amount of time right before Neilah. The clock is ticking. And he's looking at his son. And he's looking at the crowd. His face starts to get red. He starts to sweat. His heart beating. And in one instant he felt like, you know what? He'll get the message. I'm busy. I need to train him. Like, you know, he'll have to get used to this. I'm the rabbi. But then he was thinking, you know, what is all Yom Kippur about? Here I am, praying all day long that Hashem will have Rahmanas on me. And he turned around and he decided, this is my child. This is my number one priority. Let me have Rahmanas on him like I want Hashem to have Rahmanas on me. So he took his child, held him, pacified him, and as he was holding him, he started to speak. To be a child is a challenge. To be a teenager, how much more so with all the pressure. May God bless you to have compassion, to listen, to help, be there,